The internet is on fire today because the US House of Representatives just passed a bill that basically said, hey, TikTok, you need to sell to an American company or we're going to ban you in the United States. We got to talk about how this affects marketing for business. We got to talk about how it affects business as a whole, and we got to talk about the concerns that we're hearing from a lot of our clients. Hi, my name is Amanda Abea. Welcome to Make Money Your Honey. On this channel, we talk sales, marketing, systems, and mindset so you can simplify your business and amplify your life. Now, a huge part of that is making sure that you are leveraging different marketing strategies so you get inbound leads into your business. And I've been getting asked a lot of questions, Amanda, how are you able to pump out so much high quality content? And a big part of my secret is my content planning calendar, which you can grab for free below. All right, so we got to talk about TikTok. We got to talk about what's going on in the US right now. You guys are going to be hearing this from like the business owner perspective, somebody who's been in digital marketing for 15 years. You might also be hearing a little bit of the more global citizen expat perspective because I am American, but we live overseas right now, and it's very interesting to see these things happening when you're not living in the United States, but it still affects most of your clients, it affects most of your colleagues, and it affects a lot of your friends and family. So here's what's going down. The United States has been trying to get rid of TikTok for a while under the premise, or their argument, is that TikTok is used by the Chinese government, which is the Communist Party of China, and is being used to basically give propaganda to American users. They've also been accused of getting data from Americans to target Chinese propaganda to Americans. There's very little to no evidence that this has even occurred. So that's what the American government is alleging, and that is their reasoning for even bringing this to the forefront. So basically what they've done is that they've put TikTok in a position where they're like, hey, you have 6 months to sell to an American company, or at least the US operations has 6 months to sell to an American company. So that might look like a Facebook or a Google. Otherwise, we're going to ban you in the United States. Now, obviously, this is bringing up a lot of feelings for a lot of people. It's bringing up a lot of questions for a lot of people, ranging from what does this mean for marketing in my business to what does this mean for American democracy as a whole. So obviously this is a very big topic. Let's start a little bit with what this means for you as a business, and then maybe we can go in a little bit into the other topic because the two are actually quite related. So let's talk about what this means for marketing in your business. Now, I've been saying this forever. I've said it on video after video after video. Do not ever rely on one lead source for your business. Do not ever rely on one social media channel to bring you all your business, because here's what's happening to content creators on TikTok or people who only use TikTok for business. Well, your livelihood might get shut down because of government interference over beef that has absolutely nothing to do with you. So you could be a very legitimate business owner on TikTok, but because the US and China have their issues, then you're the one who's going to suffer for it, and your livelihood is the one that's going to get cut off. So, and this is just one example of many. There's so many reasons why a lead source might get cut off. Just last week, the United States was dealing with Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn outages, and people were freaking out because they couldn't run their Facebook ads. This week, we have a potential ban on TikTok. So this is not going to go away. This is probably going to get more intense over the next few years, which means you as a business owner need to start making some moves. So if you're only relying on one social media channel, well, this brings up two things. Number one, how can we layer in other social media channels? And number two, how can we layer in some lead sources that have nothing to do with social media or the tech gods or any of that? So I will give you an example. Part of what we teach our clients in Effortless Sales Engine is to have leads coming from multiple places. Now, the way that we teach that is with something that we call the inbound lead generation trifecta, which means there's leads coming from 3 places. So place number one is stuff like YouTube, but deeper than YouTube is really search engine optimization. So essentially, someone puts something in the search bar on YouTube or in Google, and then boom, my video pops up. So that's way number one. Way number two is through referral partners. Now, referral partners I really like because number one, it's leverage. One connection could lead to 300 leads in a day, as it has for me. But number two, it has nothing to do with social media. Nothing. You're not dealing with YouTube potentially deplatforming you. You're not dealing with TikTok being banned. You're not dealing with a Facebook outage. It literally has nothing to do with any of that, which is one of the reasons we're big on building a referral partner network. And then that network sends you leads. I've done tons of videos about that on this channel. You can go find them by binging the videos on this channel. The third thing is podcasting, and we cover podcasting from two different perspectives. So number one being a podcast host. So again, you can meet referral partners, or so you can qualify leads. And again, that has nothing to do with social media, and it's still extremely leveraged. And the other thing is being on other people's podcasts or other people's stages, or for example, news sites. This is called earned media. And again, that doesn't really have anything to do with social media. So that's our inbound lead generation trifecta that we teach our clients in Effortless Sales Engine. And it was designed that way on purpose because we kind of sort of saw a lot of this stuff coming, or, you know, we've each been in digital marketing for 15 years, 30 years collectively. We've seen some stuff. So when we see the writing on the wall, we start adjusting for the writing on the wall, and we teach our clients to do the same. Once we've got that inbound lead generation trifecta going, that's when we go start worrying about the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the TikToks. I'm not against any of that stuff. We recently have a TikTok video that has over 100,000 views on it. So I'm not against it at all. I'm just not relying on any of these things to bring me business, and my social media accounts can get shut down tomorrow and I can still make money. So that's one of the things to start thinking about. The second thing to start thinking about is maybe starting to expand into a more global market, because this is where things get interesting, and this is where a lot of people, particularly people more in the expat community, but also people who tend to be a little bit more libertarian, their alarm bells are really going off with this legislation. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, okay, it's never going to get past the Senate. And that might be true, but Joe Biden already said that if it somehow gets into his desk, he is signing it into law. All they really need to do is flip some senators, right? Which may not be a difficult thing to do in this case, and you're done. It's done. This brings up a lot of questions, right? This brings up questions about, you know, doing business in the United States or also doing business with Americans. Because, for example, when we heard the news, we're like, okay, well, does it really affect us? Because we're in Mexico, and that we know of, Mexico's not trying to ban TikTok or anything like that. And the reality is that it would still affect us because the majority of our audience is American. So if we were using TikTok and the majority of our audience is American, and then they're no longer allowed to have access to TikTok, well, then that's a problem for your business. So this brings into question, you know, the idea that we need to start expanding outside of our borders. And I want to use the example of what was happening a few years ago in 2020 with everything that went down in 2020, and how a lot of brick and mortar businesses that just stuck to their local areas and had never gone online really got screwed in 2020. This is actually somewhat similar, where if you're only relying on one country as your lead source, and then that country is having some legislation that basically cuts off parts of your business, well, then a smart person would start thinking about, okay, well, how do I expand more globally? How do I start getting the attention in other countries? How do I start getting clients outside of the US or outside of Canada or outside of Europe or outside of Australia? Because all of these places in the last few years have shown just how much government overreach they are willing to do, and eventually that does start to affect businesses. So that's one of the reasons why alarm bells are really going off in the entrepreneurial community. And a lot of entrepreneurs are thinking about more global expansion, which is the smart thing to do anyway. I remember when I worked in personal finance, they always said, don't put all your money into one asset class or one investment. You want to diversify. Well, it's the same thing in business. Don't put all your eggs in one basket of TikTok for your lead flow, or Instagram or YouTube or whatever. You want to expand outside of it and build diversification. Well, it's the same thing with your type of clients. You don't want to rely on just one country or rely on just your local area. You want to diversify and expand outside of it. The internet allows us to do it in a much easier way than ever before. Some people, particularly in expat communities and things like that, we're seeing this with a lot of our entrepreneurial friends from the United States. They're just going to other countries to go start exploring opportunities in other places, because that's what smart business people do. They diversify. They don't just rely on one thing. So the same way that you don't want to rely on just one lead source, maybe we need to start having conversations about not just relying on one country. So it's really interesting what's going on right now. We'll have to see what ends up happening with this whole TikTok situation in the United States. It seems that they have about 6 months to make this sale. If it ends up going to Joe Biden's desk, it seems that they have about 6 months to make the sale. So it's not like they're going to ban TikTok tomorrow. It's not going to work that way. But that gives you as a business owner time to start thinking about how to diversify your lead generation. And we have a ton of videos on this channel to help you do that. And in addition to that, we have our Effortless Sales Engine program, where it's literally one of the main things that we teach. And I gave you a sneak peek of what we teach for inbound lead generation in that program. So if you're interested in that, make sure to apply below. All right, guys, I didn't want to do this video, but we had to do this video. It is what it is. Leave your thoughts below. Do you think the United States government is actually going to go through with this? Do you have any questions or concerns about freedom of speech? Are you someone who mostly relies on TikTok and now you're freaking out because you're trying to figure out, how you're going to make money if they get rid of TikTok? Let us know in the comments below. I just ask that you guys be respectful, because I've seen some not nice comments coming through lately, so I just ask that you guys be respectful. We will delete any comments that are not respectful to one another. All right, guys, if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe and give it a thumbs up so you don't miss a single video that we have coming out on this channel. We have almost daily content coming out on this channel right now to keep you informed in terms of what's going on with marketing trends, to keep you informed in terms of what's going on with global entrepreneurship, and to talk about stuff like this. I'll catch you guys on the next one.